Hi, I'm Brian Nordstrom with the Kalamazoo Growlers, and I'm the Fan Experience Director here. I just wanted to welcome you to our 2020 Winter Hot Stove event that is now virtual. We've got a lot of fun in store, including a couple interviews with some former Growlers players that are now current Major League players. I wanted to thank you for coming, especially our 365 Game Plan members. We did this show for all of our fans, so enjoy.
Wonderful, Ruth. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Your old age.
Welcome. I'm younger than you. Welcome to the Kalamazoo Growlers Hot Stove event. Hot Stove event for 2020. We thank you for joining us, welcoming us into your homes.
Hello, I'm Ruth.
Ruth, this is Ruth, and I am Martha, your host. Oh, a little pillow talk, no worries. We are so excited for you to be here today. We are going to take you on quite the journey on this variety show. Quite the journey, I hope, along the way.
I'd say more of an adventure.
Adventure.
Yes.
When I go to adventures, I make sure I pack my caramel candies. I hope we find a few upon the way. Some
overrated.
Oh, bad take. First things first, we are going to tell you about the origin of the Kalamazoo Mac Daddies, the cheesiest team in sports.
Mac Daddies. I knew a couple of Mac Daddies back in my day.
I bet you did. I bet you
Yes,
found your way
put
around
noodle on 'em.
a few noodles a time or two. Anywho, after the Mac Daddies, we're going to do an interview with the handsome Cody Piechocki, the
Cody.
manager. He's the manager.
Cody, what does he do?
No, he's the manager.
What does that mean?
He manages. He's the manager.
know.
He does the manager.
I
I
think
do
it's
know.
made up.
I love a good man in uniform, and boy, does his caboose look good in those pants. Caboose,
You
can
dog.
say that?
Keep it in your dress.
Oh, keep it in my dress. What a silly goose. Oh, conk. Anywho, after we talk with Cody, we're going to learn how to pull some pork. With Tom Olds. Tom's going to teach
I
us
cannot wait.
how to cook the pork and
My mouth is
how to
watering
eat
right
it.
now.
Me too. The pork sounds very tasty. I just
I'm
like
not
food that-
hungry anymore.
you know, when you get to my age, you lose some of your faculties. You know, faculties. I was once a faculty member. I was a
Faculty.
teacher.
Fake teeth?
Faculties? Dentures. You have
Yes.
dentures.
See.
Oh, they look terrible. You should brush. Anywho, after we learn about the pork with Tom, we will send it to an interview with Caleb Baragar. He is one of the Kalamazoo Growlers Major League Baseball players.
Baragar. I knew a couple of Baragars too. That was the noodle
Baragar.
man.
Baragar. That sounds like burger to me. Do you like a good burger?
Oh. Yes.
Extra juicy, extra cheese, a little pickle on top. No cheese. The lactose intolerant.
Next.
She's been tooting all morning. She had a little cream cheese this morning on her bagel. Anywho, following that, we will go to the Kalamazoo Growlers' very first Major League Baseball player, John Schreiber. John Schreiber will be joining the show. Schreiber.
That's fun to say.
Schreiber.
It's like Dutch.
It is. It sounds like sherbet. Sherbet. Do you like sherbet?
We love you.
Perhaps when we're done here, we could go get some sherbet and catcall on some younger fellas.
Maybe with Cody? Take Cody along?
Ooh, Cody Piechocki. Maybe he'd treat us. Maybe
That's
he could.
Polish.
Maybe he could manage us, ladies, if you know what I mean.
No.
Anywho, we are so excited to have you today, and with that being said, let's send it to our next segment.
The cheesiest team in all of sports made history this summer. Kalamazoo Mac Daddies, the cheesiest and coolest logo of 2020. You may have seen us on Sports Center. Darren Ravelli then jumped in on the bandwagon, or Greg Miller's Kinda Funny with a Mac Daddy hat and t-shirt. The Kalamazoo Mac Daddies, the cheesiest brand in all of sports.
Yeah, we just knew, the trend in sports is to name your team after a food item. That's just what's going on. And so we knew that was kind of cool. And honestly, when we did this mac and cheese festival last year, first ever in Michigan, sold out. It crashed the Northwoods League system in a day because of how many people wanted mac and cheese. If you just come to our games, like on the radio, we're out of mac and cheese. We need to get more mac and cheese in the left field deck. Like, people love mac and cheese. And so we knew we had something there. We found out that there had never been a mac and cheese logo in sports, and really not too many logos ever. And so we thought we had something there. We were trying to figure out the name. We were sort of struggling with it. And I'll never forget Nick Stoglin, who was, wasn't even supposed to be a part of this meeting, comes walking by, overhears our meeting, and just kind of under his breath says, "Mac Daddies." We just look at each other, all of these experts in this meeting, and we're just like, that's the name. That is literally what we've been sitting here for an hour trying to figure out. Well, the Mac Daddies came out of necessity. We did, we weren't planning on it being, a full season thing. It was going to be a promo night. It was going to be part of United Dairy Industries, tied in with Mac and Cheese Fest. Like, it was all going to be for that. It was a Father's Day promotion. And then when we got close to the season and realized, hey, we couldn't travel, wasn't going to be safe for guys in buses and hotels. We needed to create a bubble, a pod. And so when we realized that was going to happen, we had about 3 weeks to put together a team. And we had already gotten sort of some of the legwork done with the Mac Daddies. And then we just went all in on it, announced it. It got on ESPN. Darren Rovell's retweeting it. We're selling merchandise across the country. And it became a cool little thing in a very weird summer.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That my favorite part is honestly my wife. We came back. I was really excited about the name. We had already gotten the process of the logo going, and I came back and told my wife, and she just said, "What are you an idiot?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "A Mac Daddy, look it up in the dictionary. The definition is a pimp. And we're a family-friendly organization, and, nobody associates Mac Daddy with that, but that's the definition." And so it's like, oh, my God, what have we done? Have we done, So we had to be really, conscious of that, make sure it was all about mac and cheese, it was all about dads and Father's Day and doing something really cool to impact local people. But I'll never forget, being so excited and just being brought to my knees, from my wife, who actually, she had a great point. It was like, we got to make sure this is done right. The logo design process is always cool, right? You don't get to design logos every day. And so that, we've got a guy that we've done every logo for me from day one. And so just, starting from nothing, seeing that first draft, and then honestly, we put all the drafts together in one collage and see it all. So to me, when you see that, where it started from this idea to where it ended, and then see, then that kind of culminated when you see it on you click on ESPN, and this thing that you thought was a funny idea, and your wife called you an idiot, and all that now is on SportsCenter, and they're wearing the jersey. That's kind of where it was like, all right, this was worth. It's a lot of work. Designing the logo, getting the jerseys made, getting it approved. It's just, there's a lot. And so that was kind of the culmination for me.
James Craig, pitcher, DH.
Hey guys, this is Mic'd Up with Pat Arndt.
CJ Huntley here, mic'd up with the Mac Daddies.
They really wanted the crop top. I'm a big Dove guy. No, it's squirtable.
Can read his label coming through the zone. God. That's so scary. God, Pat. You're lucky you're cute.
What's up, man? I'm Tyler.
Hi, Travis.
Nice to meet you, bro.
Good to meet you too.
Yep.
No?
That was like a chain reaction.
You think Greg would give us nap time if we asked? Pat seriously looks like Babe Ruth in his later in a career.
You got the cutest in all of college baseball right here.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Thanks, man. You look like Dash from The Incredibles. You know who I wouldn't deny? CJ. CJ is so cute. Oh! Best looking coach in the pod. Oh!
Here comes the power stance. Yup, there it is. Could be a male stripper.
Yeah, he's soft. You got Charmin Ultra over at first. Where's the effort, O'Donnell? I'm just wondering.
Hey, listen up. Listen up. We gotta fold that tarp and put it over there.
Cenzo mio amore. Hey, pretty boy. Oh, sorry, not you. This is awkward. Come over here, Pat will kiss you. I've seen it.
You got moved down 6 spot.
Aw, Marbles, you're so nice. I'm gonna kiss you. Marbles, I'm gonna kiss you on your mouth. I'm gonna kiss you too, Tanner.
I have no idea what I'm doing here, like at all, but like I know I'm doing a really, really good job.
Heads up! Oh my goodness, good thing I'm the greatest there ever was. I get so like, when I say your guys' first names, I get like worried.
Do you even know my name yet?
I just call you Canada. That was nice. Sing! Kazoo!
How about a round of applause for those cheesy boys? Very cheesy boys. Who is the tiny man talking about those cheesy boys?
I can barely see him.
Behind the desk is tiny.
Yes.
If his hairline was receding any faster, it would get a speeding ticket.
Yeah, I usually like those things. But...
Yes, you don't know about speeding. You drive so slow. It's like the guy's walking past.
Naturally.
That was the origin of the Kalamazoo Mac Daddies.
Mac
Daddies. What a beautiful season those boys had this summer.
Daddies.
Oh, we really enjoyed cheering them on, didn't we, Ruth? Ruth?
Huh?
Oh, yes, we really enjoyed cheering on the boys.
Oh,
the
yes,
Mac Daddies
the boys.
And
back to the pool.
And across the field there was the manager for the Growlers, the other team. Remember the manager?
Piechocki.
Piechocki. Piechocki. Yes, that's it. Cody. Oh, my memory goes. Cody Piechocki, the manager.
Whoa.
The manager. What does the manager do?
Who knows?
Anywho, well, let's find out. Let's send it to an interview with Growlers manager Cody Piechocki.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us here. We're at our virtual hot stove, and we're excited to have Coach Piechocki here today to talk about some exciting things in the off season. Just like every year, most of the work gets done in the off season. But you know what? I'm gonna have someone else do this. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Right. I gotta.
Hey guys, this is Pody Ciechocki here interviewing our head coach Cody Piechocki. Got some real big things in store for this upcoming summer. We're really excited to talk to you, Coach. It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Yeah. So, Coach, I got to ask, first things first, what's the end game with the beard there?
I don't think there's an end game. It's more of a retirement plan. So when I'm done coaching, I can become a mall Santa.
Nice.
Yeah.
Get a little gray in your beard. They're doing the mall Santa thing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I appreciate that for sure. Pew, pew. Coaching style. So one thing that we get, I'm sorry, that you get a lot of questions about, how you approach coaching a bunch of players who you have little time to get to know in such a short amount of time in the summer here in the Northwoods League.
Was that a question?
Yeah, what's the general style that you approach with these guys that you don't really know?
I guess we get to know each other when you travel, downtime in the clubhouse. It's just when you're not on the field that you get to know the players, but they're all here with one goal, and that's to get better and to win, and that's usually what we keep our focus on.
That's awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I know in my time in the Northwoods League, it took quite a bit of experience for me to understand. You got to coach who you know and what you know. So sticking with that kind of mentality is huge. So nice. I appreciate that for sure. So tell me, what do you remember about Caleb Baragar and John Schreiber, a couple of guys that are in the league now, started here in Kalamazoo? Tell me a little bit about what you remember from those days.
Well, I mean, first of all, I actually got to know the guys when they were playing junior college baseball. They played in our conference. There were 2 guys that we faced at our school, and we brought in for the Growlers. Caleb actually threw the first pitch in franchise history up in Madison. I think the first pitch he threw actually went like 20 feet over the catcher's head and hit the backstop. So that night, us and the coaches were like, well, this is going to be a long night. But we still got the ball. Caleb had a good outing. John joined the team later in the summer. His college coach was on our staff, brought him in, and he was a lights-out closer for us and helped us win some games down the stretch. So they were both really young at that time. You could see they had potential. It was a lot of fun to see their growth.
That's really awesome. I appreciate, that experience that you have bringing up the younger guys, and it's exciting to see some of our guys finally make it into the majors. Anyone else making their way up there that you think is a close prospect you would expect to see in the majors that was a former Growler here soon?
I think you're going to see the 2018 roster is going to produce probably our next couple of major league players. When you look at the draft results, I think that team almost had 20 players drafted. Our 2 through 5 hitters all went in the first 5 rounds of the draft. So I think that 2018 group is going to produce multiple big leaguers, and that's going to be our next wave of guys up in the pros.
Definitely. I remember Nico being one of the big names, big bat for sure. I'm really excited to see where he goes.
Yeah.
You ever get the feeling that other coaches in the Northwoods League are a bit intimidated by your good looks?
I haven't really noticed any other coaches in the league with like really grown out beards, so I think that intimidates them. It's just that's a thing that some men can do, and I don't see many other coaches in the league have the ability.
That's definitely. Do you think that's something you can implement here in Kalamazoo as a mandate? Must wear a beard to play on the field.
I like our players to look like it's the 70s, so long hair, facial hair. If they can look like they're 35 instead of 18, I think that helps with that intimidation factor.
I love it. Love to see it for sure. Working on the mustache, not quite gotten the beard yet, but coming in, no doubt. Do you have any jobs open with the team? You know, myself, not quite a pitcher, but I think I can coach, a position or two.
We always need a good bullpen catcher, guys that can stand 300 feet from the dugout. And basically just like do nothing. I think that could be a good job for you.
I really like that. I'm more of a rah-rah guy myself for sure.
Yeah,
so,
you could dance with them down there. I think it'd be good for that.
I appreciate it. Smash some chairs, no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, guys, this has been Cody Piechocki with Pody Ciechocki here. We're really excited for the 2021 season coming up. Got a lot of guys that we're really excited to have. So, Cody, appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm married. Does that matter? Really? You do that for me? Oh, yeah, I'd like that.
Who are you talking to?
It's Brian from the Growlers. That does sound like a really good deal.
Brian from the Growlers at 3 in the morning? Who is this?
Brian from the Growlers.
What are you wearing, Brian from the Growlers?
Khakis?
She sounds hideous.
Well, she's a guy, so.
Hi, this is Dean Thomas with the Kalamazoo Growlers. I'm filming this commercial inside of my apartment because, like so many other small businesses, the pandemic has affected the way we do business. And right now, we're asking for your support. The best way you can support us is through purchasing a 365 game plan this Christmas. Each plan comes with a Mac Daddies jersey, a Coach Strike bobblehead, and come this summer, tickets to 5 Growlers games, plus all-you-can-eat food. Make sure to order your pack before December 21st to ensure you get your jersey and bobblehead in time for Christmas.
Thank you for being here, Caleb. Super excited to talk to you. You're now with the San Francisco Giants. You're the second major league player. You're not the first, so
yeah, I know.
Nice
I think
try.
Johnny beat me to it, but that's okay.
Yep. Just barely. It's kind of funny. You guys played the same year. I don't know if you played together, but yeah, you guys.
I think he came in like right as I left because I was like one of the last guys to leave because I remember we like shipped out everybody. Everybody just kind of got banged up and like it's a long season. It's definitely a grind, It's like something that like it is similar to pro ball, those like long summers, you already played in your college season, and then you come to summer ball, and it is a grind, but it gets you ready for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what makes our league, a little different and special, is that it's whether people like it or not, it's minor league baseball at this level, and there's good and bad to that. But it hopefully prepares someone like you that, early in your career, right? You started out a junior college, went to a different school. I was going to ask you, just before you got to the Growlers, or, tell us kind of your story with the colleges you went to. That's kind of unique. And maybe just how you ended up getting to the Growlers that summer.
Yeah, so I went to junior college out of high school. I was a little bit undersized, not very big, didn't throw very hard. And then I went to Jackson for my 2 years, and then I ended up committing to Indiana. And I think it was before Tracy Smith left, because he was the guy who recruited me. It was the pitching coach under Tracy that actually got me with the Growlers. He knew Chris Smith. He was our pitching coach that year, and he got me there. And then 5 games into the season, Tracy ended up taking the ASU job. So I didn't really get as much feedback, I guess, from IU as I thought I was going to kind of go in there, but it ended up working out fine anyway. I ended up playing for Lamonis at Indiana, and I really, really gelled with him and his staff pretty well. So overall, it was a pretty good fit, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was Brandon Higlin, one of our guys that was here for a long time in the Northwoods League. So, but yeah, no, it was exciting to have you here, and Cody loved playing, working with you when you was here. He mentioned to me recently. What do you remember about Kalamazoo? I mean, it's these, we forget you guys here for maybe 2 months or less sometimes. What do you remember about KZoo?
I remember it was the first time I'd ever been with a host family. I stayed with Don Lambright. I'm not sure if he's even a host parent anymore, but I remember staying with him in Kalamazoo. It was kind of a cool experience. He was a great guy. It was a great setup. I was 15 minutes from the field, and then he even had a lake house 40 minutes outside of Kalamazoo. So kind of on the off day, we'd get to go there too, which was pretty fun. But I just remember playing with a lot of guys that I had kind of seen around the JUCO leagues. It felt like there was about 10 of us, and then the rest of them were these big D1 guys. So it was kind of nice for me to come in and get a little bit of familiar faces, but then I was also understanding I'm coming in to play with or against a lot of guys I'll have competition with at my next school. So for me, it was a really good stepping stone to kind of understand that atmosphere. And then the thing I remember the most is I remember Cody called me and he's like, "Hey, Carbone wants to talk to you about starting," and I ended up starting the first game in Madison or whatever. I don't think I pitched very well, honestly. I really struggled, statistically wise. That was the first time I ever really struggled was in the Northwoods League. But I remember going in there, and then he's like, "Hey, you're going to pitch in Madison." He's like, "It's going to be loud, but it'll be fine." I was like, "Okay, whatever." And then I didn't realize how loud it was actually going to be. The fan atmosphere was really good, especially at a lot of those other places that had been a little more established than the Growlers.
Yep.
Going into Madison, there was 7,000 people there for opening day, and that was by far the biggest crowd I'd ever pitched in front of. So it was really cool to kind of get that experience, and that really prepared me a lot for pro ball, where you start to play in front of bigger crowds in the minor leagues, especially if you go to the bigger cities that have better followings.
So if you can see on the screen here, I'm pulling up this. I have some photos.
That's pretty
of
funny.
Your first start. This is you in Madison.
Happy. I'm sure it didn't go well.
That was you, I think, coming off the mound, pitching change. But I found these earlier today. That's you throwing there.
That's funny. Wow, I look so young.
Yeah, I know. First start in Growlers history. Is that right? So it was our very first start.
Yeah.
Look at this kid
from Jackson.
Who is this punk right here? Look at this guy.
Funny.
Look at that. So yeah, these are really cool to see. I mean, it's crazy to think that the first player to pitch for the Growlers ends up pitching in, the big leagues, which is really.
I think that's funny too, because if you would have asked any of the coaching staff after the season I had there, they would have been like, "Hey, did you think this kid was going to pitch in the big leagues?" I would have probably laughed. But that was the selfie jersey. Oh, that's funny.
There you go. There's you in the selfie jersey, year one. That got one minor league baseball's promo of the year. So
that's awesome.
Look at that. Remember these guys? So I just thought I'd find a couple of those,
Who is
take
that?
you
Is
down
that
memory
that's
lane.
Colgate, Wernke, and then who is the other kid there?
Oh, I don't remember.
Eric something, right? I think his name was
Yep.
Eric.
Yep. I don't remember the last name, but yeah, he came back the next year. Wernke did. So I know
Oh, he did?
I know
Okay.
him. Yep.
I got you. Yeah, he was from
So-
West Virginia, if I remember right.
Yep. And Colgate, I think, was at Notre Dame. So, anyways, that's all. I got some more for you, but I'll get back to the regularly scheduled programming here. I was going to ask you. You were a 9th round pick, which is awesome. I mean, that's high for those that know. Sometimes there's 40 or 50 rounds. As you know, minor league baseball, potentially some contraction. Well, definitely contractions this year. Talking about less rounds down the road. Who knows what that's going to look like. But the point is, a 9th round pick, potentially down the road, you might not have been drafted if that, down the line.
100%. And
So-
especially being like a senior, because I came out of Indiana after my second year, so it was my senior year technically. So I think now if they do shorten it, you're not going to see many seniors go, because I was kind of one of those guys to help somebody else out to get a little bit more money, like with the way the slot stuff works. And we can get into that. I think that's kind of like, I think it's stupid in my opinion, but I only think it's dumb because it hurt me. Whereas if I was like a redshirt sophomore and they get paid more money because they're a redshirt sophomore, like they think it's sweet. So it kind of depends on who you talk to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be weird coming up with, they're cutting like 40 some teams across all of minor league baseball. So that's a little over one apiece. So you are going to lose some stuff. I mean, I think it can get watered down, but at the same time, you just never know what's going to happen. Like I struggled my first 2 years pretty bad. And then all of a sudden, like I started to figure some stuff out, and it happens quick. That's why I think it's beneficial to have those like extra kids that you can give a chance and see if they can kind of grind through and figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, guys that get overlooked, don't get seen till later till their senior year, late bloomer. Guys you're still growing when you're 18, 20 years old, so you never know what those look like. So it's going to change a lot. I might have more guys staying in college longer. We'll see what happens, but it's definitely going to change our level and minor league level. And like I said, we'll see what that does for guys like you that weren't, first round, draft pick, guys that had to prove themselves and get to the minor leagues and grind it out. And then, here you are. And so we'll see what happens. It's definitely going to be changing a lot. So like you said, you worked your way through the junior college and school, then you get drafted in minor leagues, and then you get the big league uniform, you put it on, you get the baseball first time. What was that like? I mean, I'm sure everyone wants to know, what did that feel like being a major league player and throwing out on the mound?
It was kind of surreal, honestly. Like it didn't really hit me. It didn't really hit me till the year was kind of over. Because, with no fans, it's different. It's really different. And even like I'd get some texts from buddies or like pictures and be like, hey, you're on my TV. And I was like, wow, like that's when it kind of got really weird. Because I was like, like you don't notice the cameras when you're playing. Like it's still the same game. And I think that was what was really nice for me, was being able to play this year, like kind of because I was a late invite to the second spring training. I didn't even go to the first spring training. And I kind of just showed up at the second spring training. And I guess threw well enough to turn some heads and get put on the opening day roster. So it was nice that one, we had the expanded roster from normal 25 to 30 because of COVID. And then two, just to get me in there to kind of play like just baseball and not really have to worry about like the fan aspect or like anything else. Cause we weren't really at the field very often. It was very much just like baseball only stuff. So it really allowed me to kind of separate the like big league atmosphere from the actual game. And once I kind of realized that, like I struggled a little bit in the beginning, just kind of fighting myself with like, do I belong here? Like, am I good enough to pitch here? And then once I kind of realized that I was, like when I was getting hurt, they were really small mistakes that I just have to make a little change to. And once I made those changes, it seemed like it was the same game. It was the same game I played my whole life. And once I could put that into like a reality perspective, it was much easier. And like, I had a lot more confidence throwing.
That's interesting. I mean, the no fans, I'm not saying it's like a soft opening, but like, do you think that's helpful? Like, I mean,
I
you
think
really
so,
looking forward to
personally.
playing in front of big crowds again? Like, I mean, that's probably you missed out on that. But what do you think?
Right.
You know, moving into next year.
I think it'll be fine, honestly. Like, now that I know I can pitch there, and like after talking with our front office and the coaching staff there, like they want me to be a big part of that team, and they think I can. Like, the fact that they believe so heavily in me, like, allows me to pitch well, and like just that extra little confidence from other people is something I really never got growing up, because I've always kind of been like, not on the back burner, but I've always been like just the JUCO kid who came into Indiana and then wasn't necessarily supposed to like do a whole lot when I got to Indiana. And then I ended up being our Friday night starter after like the second week of the season at IU my first year. So it seems like every step of the way I've kind of always been like overlooked, and even in pro ball. And then we got like some new guys who were pretty analytically driven, and I started to talk with them with the Giants starting in like 19, and then 19 I had a really good year, so I got put on the radar a little bit, but apparently not enough to even get a spring training invite in 20, and then I guess a couple guys went down with some random illness that wasn't like public knowledge or whatever, so I think we all know what it was, but it was never released. So they're like, hey, are you still throwing? Like, are you ready? Like, we need some extra arms at this spring training 2.0 camp. I was like, yeah, sure. Like, let me know where I got to go. So I went to San Francisco, and then I actually got to throw in front of the front office. And I was talking to our GM about it, and he's like, yeah, we were super impressed. Like, honestly, after you threw the first time, like, we penciled you in on the roster. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Because going into like the last day exit meetings, I had no idea I was going to make the team. It was crazy.
I thought I had a crazy 2020 year. That is amazing. That is insane to be, and you think that there's 30 guys, maybe 25 normally. And so that's hard to get on that. Everyone wants to be in that spot. So that's super impressive. Guys grind out minor leagues for years and years and years and never get that chance. So like, you're making the best of it. I mean, it's super cool to see. I'm a JUCO kid, so I know the underdog chip on your shoulder. That's something you should feel lucky that you have that, because some people don't, and that's
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, so that's great that you have that
from
mentality.
A junior college too, like, you're just not spoiled. Like, I remember going to Indiana and being like, wow, this is great. Like, the facilities were unbelievable. Everything was amazing. Like, we're all on these great meal plans. Like, just everything about it was awesome. And guys would be complaining like, oh, our shoes aren't as nice as last year. I was like, you guys get shoes every year? Like, I mean, I don't have to go buy them. So there's something too about that, like, JUCO aspect, where you're just not like, not to say all D1 players are spoiled, but they kind of are, like, you kind of are a little bit pampered at that level and spoiled. And it is interesting to see a lot of those big D1 guys go into pro ball and be like, where's all this nice stuff? Like, it's not here. It's like, no, man, like, you got to work for it. You really got to work for it.
That's that you hit it, man. It's so refreshing to hear that too, because you see a lot of times people see major league player, you see the logo, you see the image, and it's like, you don't know that there's guys like that have had to really work it out from the beginning and are still, it's going to be a moving target. You're always going to be grinding it out and fighting, and so I think it's super refreshing to hear that. It's very cool to see a Michigan kid go on, someone that we were lucky to have. We feel very lucky to have all our players, but then to go on and just to have that mentality is really awesome. And so I know everyone here is really, we're very proud to call you, a growler, and this is why we do what we do. It's to give players like you and everyone else that comes and plays. That's why we played this past year when we should have probably maybe punted to next year. It was like, we need to find more Caleb's, that, if we can give them an opportunity to get them to the next level, that's why we're here.
It's all about too, honestly, and like, that's good that you guys are that way. Cause I know it's real easy for a lot of places, even like a lot of minor league teams fall into that. Like, we don't really care about the players. Like, how do we make the most amount of money? And like, obviously it's a business, and I think everybody understands, but you need to be able to separate that like business aspect from like the player aspect. So if you can combine both of them and kind of get the best of both worlds, that's what's going to make like teams the most successful. Like, the best minor league organizations I played for, like the Richmond Flying Squirrels, they were unbelievable. Like, they really did well for the players. Like, I felt like my entire time there, they were more concerned with like how the players were than the extra like couple $100 you could make on like a Friday night. You know, it's more about like helping the players out and building those connections and relationships. And like the GM there was super involved with the players.
Parney.
Yeah, Parney.
I know Parney.
Like everybody knows Parney. And just like guys like that and personalities like that are really what makes it a more comfortable experience for players. And like, honestly, if like the players are happy, they're going to play better too, you know, and if the players play well, it's easier to fill the seats.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. I love hearing that. Well, I will tell you, this has been the easy stuff. You've had the easy stuff so far. It's time to get serious now. I've got a speed round that I made myself here that I'm going to fly through these questions. You don't have a lot of time. You get a maximum of like, I'm going to say like a half a second to think about these and go. I want these quick, okay? This is our speed round. Dean, if you can implement some kind of cool ding clock thing afterwards on this, make this look cool. All ready? Yeah, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Jordan or LeBron?
LeBron.
Terrible answer. Celebrity crush?
Carrie Underwood.
It's probably getting thirsty right now.
Text or talk?
Talk.
Favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Make a high-pitched sound.
Pass.
You can't.
I already passed. Next question.
What is the capital of California?
Sacramento.
I heard an one word, fill in the blank. Taylor Swift is
good at singing. I know
that's
it's
not
more
one
than
word.
But like,
yes or no? Is it wrong for vegetarians to eat animal crackers?
Yes.
What batter are you most intimidated by?
None of them.
Last one. This is the most important one. Make a high-pitched sound.
I can't do that. That's too much pressure. I can't do it.
All right. We'll give it to you. It's good. End the clock. All right. Dean, we'll see how many points he wins for this. We'll add it up. Caleb, thank you, man. This was awesome. I know our fans are going to really enjoy listening to this. This is our hot stove virtual event that we're doing. So, again, man, like I said, we're super pumped to watch you every time we can, and best of luck this upcoming preparing, training, all that stuff. We'll be watching, but again, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Brian. Appreciate it. Happy holidays.
Oh, well, was I seeing double there, or is there two Codys? What's going on?
Ruthie, you forgot the lenses in your glasses again.
I forgot to get my prescription this time.
Yes, you're such a forgetful little dame. Well, that was quite the hoot hearing from Cody Piechocki and Pody Ciechocki.
Yeah,
who
can't keep those together.
No, Ciechocki, Piechocki, Pookie.
Was something there?
Anywho, also Caleb joining us was wonderful. He is currently with the San Francisco Giants.
Oh, well, my first husband was from San Francisco.
Oh, he was.
And I left him there.
Who knew? Oh, I love the San Francisco treat, rice-a-roni.
Oh,
a real staple.
Uncle Ben?
Yes, a real staple in my diet. As you can tell, it's very working. I'm slimming down.
Yes.
Speaking of food, we are going to now learn how to pull a pork. Pull pork. What do you pull? You pull on the pork? How do you? Next, Tom will show us how to cook pulled pork in this segment called Cooking with Tom.
Hey guys, Tom Holds with the Kalamazoo Growlers here. I'm the Director of Stadium Operations for the team. Today I'm going to show you how we smoke our meat. Here at the stadium we smoke almost all of our own barbecue. That includes our pork, brisket, ribs, smoked wings, all kinds of really good stuff. So today I'm going to show you how we do our pulled pork with one of our pork butts. We use butcher's block pork. We have two offset rotisserie wood fire smokers. We can do up to 1,000 pounds of meat at the same time, which is huge, really important. It's what we use to feed you guys at all our games. We use a cherry wood that we get locally to smoke all of our meat. It gives a really good sweet flavor to the meat without getting too smoky, but still that good smoke flavor. The first thing we're gonna have to do is get our charcoal lit to get the grill going. So let's take a look at that. Now that our charcoals are getting nice and hot, I'm going to go ahead and dump those into the firebox of the smoker, throw some of our nice cherry wood on top, and let that start burning, and get the smoker up to temp. All right, so while we wait for the charcoal to fire up and get the smoker nice and hot, I'm going to go ahead and prep our meat. Today, like I said, we're doing a pork butt for some pulled pork. So I'm going to put our seasoning together. We use a dry rub on the outside, coat the pork, and then throw it on the grill. So we use a bunch of different ingredients for our dry rub. One of the most important ones, in my opinion, is a healthy amount of brown sugar. It caramelizes on the outside of the pork, gives it a really good sweet flavor. So if you are sugar-free in your diet, I'm sorry, you can't have our pulled pork. You can have our brisket and our wings and our ribs, but not the pork. Besides that, we use a handful of different things, and it's just a healthy little eyeball of each ingredient if the wind cooperates with us. Like I said, normally I'm prepping this for about 1,000 pounds worth of pork, which would be about 50 20-pound pork butts. Today, I'm only doing it for one 12-pound pork butt, so I'm adjusting accordingly. Now I've got all my different spices in the pan here. I'm just gonna mix them up nice and thorough so that when I put it on the pork butt, every bite has a little bit of everything. And once it's nice and mixed, I'm simply gonna put the pork right in there. Make sure this doesn't fly away. And just a nice generous rub on every inch of this pork. This is what gives it a really good bark. What they call it in the barbecue world, a nice crisp outside, good flavor that penetrates all the way through. The brown sugar especially works really well with the cherry wood because it is a sweeter wood. But when smoking anything, it's going to have, smoke naturally has more of a bitter flavor to it, so it is important to offset that a little bit with some sweet. All right, so our pork butt is ready to go on the grill. We're gonna let that sit for a few minutes until the smoker gets up to temp. All right, so now that the smoker is up to temperature, I'm gonna go ahead and put the pork butt on. We try to get it and keep it between 250 degrees and 300 for the entire smoke. Our pork typically takes about 8 hours. This one being a little smaller, I imagine will take a little bit less than that, but still we want to go for around that 8-hour time just to make sure it gets nice and tender, falls right off the bone, and gets a nice seal. So we use a 3-2-1 type of technique where the first 3 hours it'll be on the grill by itself. The next couple hours we'll wrap it up in tin foil so it traps a lot of the juices and whatnot in and really soaks it up and makes it tender. And then the last couple hours we take it back out of the tin foil to let it finish off. So as the old saying goes, if you're looking, you ain't cooking. So we're gonna let this sit for a few hours, let it go. I'm just gonna keep an eye on the smoker's temperature. We'll see you back here in about 3 hours.
3 hours later.
All right guys, so it's been about 3 hours. Our smoker has been sitting right at about 250 degrees, which is right where we want. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the pork off the grill, pan it, wrap it up in aluminum foil, and throw it back on there for the next couple hours. let's take a look. Right. She is a beauty. Coming along really nice. And see the bark on there starting to form. See the bone right there about to start sticking out, which means it's melting off the bone pretty well. So that's what we're looking for. So let's wrap it up and stick it back in. All right, so still keeping it between 250 and 300 degrees. We're gonna give it about 2 more hours and take the aluminum off, see where we're at, and go from there. And again, if you're looking, you're not cooking. All right guys, so I just temped the pork butt that we've got in there. It is up to its internal temperature that it needs to be at, so we are ready to pull it off the grill. Okay. All right. And there we have our beautifully cooked pork butt. And bone literally slides right out. A little bit of stragglers, but that just fell right out. Almost no issue at all. So now we have our fully cooked pork butt. I'm gonna take one of my favorite tools, our bear claws, and just go ahead and shred it apart. Look how easy that's just falling right apart. Love to see it. Now from here, once I get this shredded up, it is ready to serve. I'm gonna go ahead and let it sit in its own juices for the next half hour or so before I dig in, just so it can soak up some of that nice juicy flavor.
That was some tasty pork. You said you wish you had some more, so I just obliged you.
Thanks for that.
Now we have some crumb on your face. Some crumb. Now we know all about how to pull the pork.
Yes.
Yes, I learned a lot about the pork and the pulling and
the throwing
claw,
in my face. Okay,
the saucing.
okay.
Very, very tasty pork. Our compliments to the chef.
Eat, not to wear.
Our compliments to the chef, Tom or Ruth. Ruth is single, ready to mingle. She enjoys very, very short walks.
I do bite.
No more than 30 seconds. She can handle it. And very slow. And she can use some new tennis balls for the walker that she has. Anywho, speaking of delightful experiences, we have an interview coming up with John Schreiber, the very first Kalamazoo Growlers major leaguer.
Speaking of firsts,
speaking of first, we have the very first Kalamazoo Growlers major leaguer, John Schreiber. He's going to be on the show. Very excited to have him. Yep. Speaking of first, John Schreiber, very first major leaguer for the Kalamazoo Growlers. Can you believe it?
I can't.
Major leaguer. Well, we will have a beautiful interview with him in just a moment.
Shortly.
And let's see that interview now.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us. I've got a really exciting person we're talking to today, John Schreiber with the Detroit Tigers. He is our first former Growler that made it to the major leagues, pitching for the hometown state Michigan team, the Detroit Tigers. So, John, thanks for joining us here today.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
First off, love the Christmas tree in the background, getting us in the Christmas spirit. Weather's cooling off, but the hot stove is heating up. We've got a few questions. We're going to talk about the Growlers, your time with the Growlers, talk about some Tiger stuff, and then I got a fun round, thing we're going to be doing later here today. But yeah, first things first. I mean, just maybe tell people that don't know, like, your story background, like kind of leading up to getting to the Growlers before all this started. You got a unique story, different colleges, kind of coming over to Kalamazoo, but let us know how you got here.
Yeah, coming out of high school, I didn't really have any colleges looking at me to play baseball and continue my career. So Henry Ford Community College reached out to me, and I ended up playing a year over there, and had a decent year playing there. And University of Northwestern Ohio ended up contacting me and offering me a scholarship. So I went over there to play some baseball, and I got really close with pitching coach at the time, Chris Smith. And after a year playing at UNOH, he asked me if I wanted to come over to the Growlers and play summer ball with you guys, because he was actually the pitching coach with the Growlers at the time. So I said sure, and came over there and had a good time playing for the Growlers.
Yeah, I think the summers fly by. Obviously, that you get here, you just played a spring season, you kind of show up to Kalamazoo. I always what do you remember about Kalamazoo when you were here? I mean, I know you're a Michigan kid, you're from the from the state, but it kind of flies by. What do you remember about Kalamazoo when you were here?
I mean, not much, but I mean, to me, it felt kind of like a small town, and a nice town, and most of the time I just thought about playing baseball while I was with the Growlers, and we had host families and stuff like that, so just pretty much every day just got ready to play some baseball. So didn't really go out
all
that
business.
Much, all business for me, yeah.
Man. Yeah, we're our slogans were fun makes a difference, but not for John. John's all baseball, no fun, baseball. Oh, yeah. No, that's all right. That's okay. Yeah, I mean, you came in 2014. That was our first year. So I mean, still working out the kinks. I mean, we're in year 7 now, or going into year 8. We're still working out kinks, but year 1, it was kind of crazy. What did you remember, or at least as far as the Northwoods League? It's the largest, as far as schedule in the country, farthest travel. What did that do for you? Maybe being at a school that, you're not going on these big bus trips that maybe some of the Big Ten schools go to, or the SEC, right? How did that prepare you for where you're doing now?
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. I mean, it just prepared me on, kind of what, minor league baseball is kind of like, with the traveling aspect of it. And, I had so much fun doing that, just from all the teams we got to play and different cities we got to go to. So, I mean, I had a lot of fun. So
that's awesome. I mean, we pride ourselves on obviously having really good baseball. Sometimes people don't know summer ball, it's college, who is the University of Northwestern Ohio. It's kind of we pride ourselves on that. And then a guy like you, who comes in our first year, maybe at a school people don't know about, ends up being our first major leaguer, even when we had maybe guys from Big Ten schools and SEC and all that. That's a great story for us, because you just never know. Someone like you gets drafted in the 19th round and then ends up, being able to pitch in the major leagues, which, it's extremely rare for anyone for that to happen.
Yeah, that summer was actually, one of my first kind of major leaps on excelling my, athleticism when it comes to pitching. And, I kind of made some strides that summer and found a jump in my velo, and that really kind of changed things for me going forward. So having Mike Ott and Chris Smith help me out. So.
Oh yeah. What's it, so for people that know you, you're a side armor submarine. You definitely throw from down below, right? I feel like everybody that throws like that has a unique story as to how that happened, right? My roommate in college was 6'8", threw straight over the top in college, and then made it to the major leagues throwing sidearm. 6'8", big goofy guy. So how the heck do you end up going down here, right?
I always tell people, they always ask me that. They're like, when did you start going sidearm? And I always tell them, I have no idea because I felt like every year that I kept pitching, my arm slot just kept getting lower and lower. And when I got to the Tigers organization, they saw that my arm slot was a little bit lower than some, and they're like, "Well, come take a look at this guy. His name's Kurt Spomer, and he was a fellow sidearmer." And I ended up watching his bullpen and looking at his mechanics, and kind of try to imitate what he was doing, and that's kind of where it kind of took off sidearm wise. But
yeah,
I can't tell you when I started dropping down that low, but
it's awesome. I mean, it's crazy. Baseball has these stories, guys, pitch in the league for 10 years and then do it, or guys come up and do it. It's fascinating, and it's I mean, obviously baseball now is analytics, and this guy can get this guy because he's down. You know what I mean? So it's this chess game now that it's really cool that you're a piece of that.
Yeah,
I don't know what you are, the pawn. What are you? The jack? That chess game? What would you consider yourself?
I always tell people if sidearms not working out, I'm gonna start throwing over the top. So
that's right. That's hilarious. I love it, man. That's cool. There's very rare to say that you get to wear that. I mean, we wear those logos, but you put that someone pays you to put that logo on, right? Like, how did that feel first time? Get into that level and putting the uniform on and then get on the mound.
It was a lot of nerves, and it was a dream come true. So it's like every day it's just like crazy to think about. When you have a lot of downtime, you're like, I can't believe where I'm at right now, and just putting in all the hard work just kind of get you there. So I mean, it's just crazy to think about.
Yeah, it's kind of hard too, right? You're in the middle of it. You're pitching. You're still fighting and trying to get better and all that kind of stuff. So it is hard to sit back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of, you might look back when you're done playing and really appreciate it, I think. But it's really, I know as far as us, for the Growlers, it's really cool to see that because, when we first got here, people were just, what is this level? It's not professional. What is this? These guys any good? Like, what's this baseball? And to show us now, we have two guys that played in our first season when no one knew who we were, and now our major leaguers. It just kind of proves that this is a really cool league.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best part of baseball, I think. You just never stop learning, and every single day I'm trying to improve pitching and all that kind of stuff. So it just never ends, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, it's a great game. We love the game. It's awesome. So obviously 2020 crazy year. You actually did get to make your debut in 2019. So you were pitching in front of crowds and what we're used to and what we're hoping getting back to. But what was 2020 like with COVID and pitching in front of empty stadiums and cardboard cutouts?
It was really weird. At first, we just go about our business when we're out there playing. So, I mean, not have a crowd there wasn't a big deal to all of us. So we're all trying to compete and do the best we can, to help the team win games. So, I mean, I think it was just weird just because there was no fans and you didn't have as much adrenaline going just because the momentum shifts in the game and the crowd noise, everybody getting pumped up and all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of the weirdest part of it all, just having the pumped in crowd noises and stuff like that. So
what about the dugouts being able to chirp at each other? I know that was a big thing. They said you could hear in the past, you couldn't hear the other dugouts saying those things. Was that ever a factor, or is that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in the dugout that much. I'm always in the bullpen, but sometimes when I was in there, you can definitely hear what the other team is saying, or they can hear what we're saying in the dugout. So it's pretty funny. So
yeah, it's a thing that people didn't really factor in when those stadiums. I know when we played this year, we didn't factor that in. We had 3 teams this year play, John, in the same stadium every other day, or every game they play. there was a game going on. So imagine playing the same two teams for 100 or so games. That we had a little bit of that stuff going on here this summer. Well, I actually now, off of the serious questions, I did put together a what I'm calling a speed round question. You throw in the mid 90s, so you're used to speed. I might have some.
I wouldn't say consistently, but
well, you can get there. That's all right. But you're used to throwing the heat. I got some heat thrown at you here. I might throw some curveballs from the side. I might throw over top here. But I got some questions. I worked all day on this. So are you ready for the Growlers speed round? It is the hot stove. So you do have to be able to take some heat here. So all right. So the rules are, we'll keep score. I'm the judge. I decide if these questions or these answers are right or wrong. We'll have a prize at the end, but you have to answer them you got like a second or two to answer. You've got to go quick. Okay?
I'll try. We'll see what happens.
All right. Dean, this is where you make something cool happen, interesting, sound, clip, whatever. All right, here we go. John, how many pull-ups can you do in a row?
Probably like 20.
There's no way. Would you rather lose all of your hair or gain 50% more hair?
50% more hair.
Oh, gross. If there's a spider in your house, do you kill it or do you set it free?
But they'll never take our freedom!
You gotta kill it.
Oh my God. Fastest speed you've ever driven a car?
Probably 90.
You're a bad example for kids. Make a high-pitched sound.
I don't know. I can't do it.
Ask permission or beg for forgiveness?
Ask for permission, for sure.
Oh my, cool. One word, fill in the blank. Taylor Swift is...
Awesome.
Are dogs people?
What?
Are dogs people?
No, they're not people.
Okay. What batter are you most intimidated by?
Probably Soler.
Ooh. All right, last one. Make a high-pitched sound. Yeah! All right, yeah. Ding, 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 ding. All right, I will say the first questions, you'd rather gain 50% more hair. There's no way that's the right answer. That's gross.
Well, I'm gonna go bald
killing
here
a spider.
In 15 years, so
okay, that's right.
Killing
a spider. That's not going to go well over with PETA here. 90 miles an hour with a car. I have a little daughter that's going to be looking up to you. That's scary. I mean, I don't know, John. I think you're just going to pass. You're going to get a C+. We'll give you a 6 out of 9 on the score. We'll just get you by passing grade today. But no, I'm just kidding, man. Great answers. A lot of fun. I appreciate the time, man. I know you're busy. You got a lot of things you're doing. New pitching coach, all sorts of stuff going on this offseason. So we wish you the best of luck. We're watching you all the time. Like I said, super proud to call you a former Growler. Yeah, man, we're super excited to watch you down the road and watch your career.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me that you guys are, rooting for me and all that kind of stuff. So thank you.
We are. Well, again, thanks, John. Growlers fans, thanks for joining us here at the Hot Stove. We'll see you here this soon, and go Growlers.
Well, that was fun. What an adventure. No caramel candies, unfortunately, but let me tell you, that was an absolute delight. Speaking of a delight, what a delightful young man that John Schreiber is.
Yes, class act.
Class act through and through, all the way. Well, Ruth, it has been a pleasure spending time with you. We don't get to see each other very often at all. So
We live together.
Oh, you're right. We do. Dear me.
Your mind is going before
my mind is going. Anywho, thank you so much for all of the guests who joined us. A round of applause for that.
Woo!
Thank you.
My wrist.
From John Schreiber to Cody Piechocki to Caleb Baragar, and a big special shout out to Tom's Meat that made the
Who is
appearance.
this? Who is the short man?
Oh, the short man with the hairline
I
going
don't remember.
behind the desk. Very small man. Anyway, thank you to everyone who joined us on this edition of the 2020 Hot Stove event. Hot, hot, hot. Don't forget. And we will see you all at the ballpark in 2021. Here from myself, Martha, and my apparent roommate, Ruth. We wish you a very Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And Happy Holidays.
See you next time.
Thanks, fans. Go Growlers!
Thank you for tuning in to our 2020 Winter Hot Stove event. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Once again, I'm Brian with the Kalamazoo Growlers, the Fan Experience Director. We put this show on for you guys. We appreciate your support in 2020 and look forward to your continued support in 2021.